Chicago Cub fans got a harsh slap in the face. We are facing a harsh reality after the Dylan Cease deal has gone through. We got to talk about it and then some. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. I'm your host, Mike Jones. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. I hope that you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope that you guys spent time with family, with friends, and with those that you love and hold dearly. I also did the same. Took the day off yesterday. Did not pod. Did not do anything. But we had a bombshell dropped on us right before Thanksgiving happened, and that was Dylan Cease was signed to a contract for the Tampa Bay. I'm sorry, not for the the Toronto Blue Jays. And he signed with them for 7 years, $210 million. That is a average of $30 million per year. Guys, Dylan Cease is a great pitcher. Dylan Cease is a good pitcher that could be great if he figures things out, right? I think more so than missing out on Dylan Cease, there is a harsh reality that Chicago Cub fans have to understand here about where this team is at and what's happening. The Chicago Cubs are not going to get any big, huge free agent names if this is how the market is going to go. Everything the Chicago Cubs accomplished through free agency will probably be fixing up the bullpen. Any big names that you get will probably be through trades. Now, why do you say this, Mike? I say this because the Chicago Cubs management and ownership team, not really even management, really ownership, absolutely refuse to defer contracts. Now, I mentioned to you guys before, the Chicago Cubs were in on Shohei Ohtani. They did the meeting. They did everything the way Shohei wanted outside of being willing to defer that deal, to defer that contract. The last two contracts that the Chicago Cubs deferred were John Lester and Jason Hayward. Which both those men were on the Chicago Cubs 2016 championship roster. However, Jason Hayward nowhere near panned out the way the Chicago Cubs thought he would. And towards the end of John Lester's career, he didn't necessarily pan out the greatest either. But they did win you a World Series. So the proven method is there that the Chicago Cubs can absolutely win, and they can get free agents. And again, I know a lot of you, I see the comments below. A lot of you guys want to ask the question, hey, Mike, why? Why do the Chicago Cubs keep going after reclamation projects? Or why do the Chicago Cubs not go get any big name free agents? Or why do we always seem like we have to get the tail end or the last pieces? Why can't we go get the big names? Deferred contracts is the name of the game now, folks. That's the era of baseball that we're in. There's nowhere in my mind in history that Dylan Cease is actually worth all of that money. And I don't even think he'll play out that full contract. At least not with Toronto. But they see somebody who's young enough that they can build around. And they see a piece that can help them be successful. I mean, they played in the World Series last year. They beat the Yankees last year. They made it all the way. And then they came up against a Dodgers team that has all these deferred contracts, all these big names that are performing, that get them where they need to go. And they fell short. But they signed Vladdy to a very, very large contract. And kudos to them. Kudos to the Toronto Blue Jays, and kudos to the Dodgers. Kudos to every team out there, whether you're supposedly a big team market or you act like a big team market. Kudos to you for spending the dough. kudos for you to be willing to lock yourself into a deal like this. Because the Cubs aren't. They aren't willing to do it. Bruce Levine, a couple years ago, tweeted out the contract. And when people kept asking about contracts and why the Chicago Cubs refused to defer contracts, he said, Cubs will not defer money any longer on contract offers. At that time, the team's still paying for Jason Hayward and John Lester on deferred deals. Cease's deal sets a high AAV baseline for top-tier starters. Now, we all know the Chicago Cubs do need starting pitching. We've talked about this throughout. $30 million annual average. It signals teams chasing top arms, and they may need to show similar yearly money or larger total guarantees to actually compete. So you see here, this is why I tell you guys that we're up shit creek without a paddle, man. The Chicago Cubs, outside of making trades, I don't foresee them getting any big major players. It's going to be a lot of reclamation guys. It's going to be a lot of contracts for guys trying to prove it on 1 or 2 year deals. And we have to come to this realization. This is just who the team is. Why? That I don't know. That's a question for Ricketts, the money man. That's the question for him. I put Jed and I think I put Carter in the thumbnail, but really it should just be a big picture of Tom Ricketts and his family, because they're the ones that have the money. They're the ones that have the controlling interest, and they're the ones that say how much Jed and Carter can spend. And most of these players these days don't want to play on a team where it's all on them. That's why I told y'all I don't think Kyle Tucker is coming back to the Cubs. Because literally, us Cubs fans, a lot of us did not place the blame on Dansby Swanson. We did not place the blame on PCA when he had a rough go. We did not place the blame on Michael Busch. A lot of last season's woes, we placed the blame. We threw it at the feet of Kyle Tucker. Oh, he's a diva. Oh, all he wants to do is care about himself. Oh, he's not being a team player. Oh, he's not playing up to that contract. He's not living up to that contract that he signed. And yeah, while some of that criticism is very well necessary, Kyle Tucker also, with just 2 months of a healthy Kyle Tucker, basically vaulted us into the postseason. And had us the number 1 seed in all of the league for a very, very long time. Now, when he got injured, obviously things went awry from there. But that's what you pay for. And then you have to build around that. Toronto understands we can't just put it all on Vladdy. Other pieces have to come along and help. Shaquille O'Neal always mentions the others when you're talking about championships. If you're talking about just being a good team, cool. But when you're talking about a championship level team, the others matter. You gotta win the game, and you gotta have great pitching, and you got to have great defense, and you also have to have great offense. You can't go on 2-3 month slouches. Can't do it. But this explains why the Cubs are so damn desperate to try to sign PCA right now. Not only because it'll probably save them money in the long run, but also because 9 times out of 10, if everybody's doing deferred deals now, 9 times out of 10, PCA is going to want a deferred deal. And if the Chicago Cubs are unwilling to do it now, there's going to be a plethora of teams coming after Pete Crow Armstrong, willing to do deferred deals to make him the face of their organization. The Chicago Cubs front office have to get with the times. They have to get with the times. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in the same rut as the Pirates, as the Cardinals, and as everybody else. And you will not see a championship come to this team. You will see great success at times, but you will not see championship caliber success. Not when you got a team like the Dodgers you got to keep fighting against. Not when the Phillies are poised to make big moves. We have to start spending money, but start spending money right. We have to get with the times. I am so over the Chicago Cubs being the bottom of the barrel and getting only the talent that is left over or reclamation projects because we refuse, or we have ownership that refuses to spend money. It doesn't make for fun baseball. It makes for baseball that causes you to lose your damn hair. It makes for postseasons where you just see you don't match up. That's a harsh reality, but it's a reality that the Chicago Cubs very well could be staring into. You just don't match up. And it's not for worth of trying. At least not for worth of trying on the part of the players and the coaching staff and even Carter and Jed. But when your hands are strapped for cash and you got other teams just out here just dispersing money like it grows on trees, well, you're going to lose a lot of those deals, a lot of those bidding wars. And that's what the Chicago Cubs are at. They're losing these bidding wars. Why are they losing them? For the refusal. It's downright refusal to defer contracts. Chicago Cubs we're gonna be in for a long free agency. I really don't know what's gonna happen, y'all, but I'm worried, and you should be too. But we're gonna cover it all. We're gonna get through it together, right here on Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, go Cubs, go.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the number one spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.